Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. What you're looking at is an explosive new Mars image with what can only be described as a large base. It sort of looks like a military installation. Now, this was found on Google Mars, and if you don't know already, Google Mars, which you can find after you download Google Earth, and you can scour over the millions of satellite images in which these objects are hidden, and NASA has done a good job of hiding a lot of these objects. Many times what they'll do, if the objects are too sharp and the resolution is too high, they will simply erase the object. However, erasing objects can cause even more scrutiny, and it does put the spotlight on NASA because people notice when things aren't right when comparing other images. So another trick that they'll use is they'll blur these structures out, or they'll play with the contrast and the brightness so that the objects simply blend in with the surrounding terrain, so you don't really notice it at first glance when you're just skimming over the thousands of satellite Mars images, or moon images for that matter. But here we have a definite structure with definite characteristics, right sharp angles, divots, and domes that are connected to this thing. And there is actually a similar structure on the moon that we've done a video on way back, and I will see if I can find that image, and if I do, I will post it to our Twitter and our Facebook. And what this object kind of looks like is a cross between a military installation and sort of like an airport installation, if you know what I mean. We will zoom into the object here and highlight it for you. So here's the object up close, and just so you know exactly what we're talking about, we will brighten the image and correct the contrast, and we will also give a special highlight of the object, which is what you're seeing here, so you know exactly what we're talking about. And once we have highlighted it, you will start to notice these features popping out at you. Take, for instance, we have this large U-shaped installation. Looks like it has multiple buildings. We have this U shape here that is curving in a U, and you can see at the top of this U, there's a small divot that comes down. Looks like there's a piece of the structure missing. And then to the very right of the structure, we have another building complete with a ceiling, the side wall, and the front wall, as well as the corners. And you can see that the shadows correlate. I mean, this looks like a building that you would see from Earth. I actually showed this image to an analyst friend of mine who has worked in the satellite imagery industry, we'll say. And I didn't tell him that this image was from Mars. I simply showed him this image, I highlighted it, I showed it to him even without highlighting it, and asked him what he thought. Now, afterwards, I told him that it was indeed a Mars image, and he told me point blank that had I not told him that this was a Mars image, that he would have said with 100% certainty that this is a man-made object, that this looked like a high-altitude satellite image of Earth, of some sort of military or industrial installation with multiple buildings. So that really blew me away. And if you look in the front of this installation, we have these two hangar-looking holes here. Kind of look like garage doors or large hangars. And then to the very left, which is one of the most interesting features of this entire structure, is we have these two more hangars here in the front, and on top of this building, we have this large dome. And you can see here, it's a perfectly circled, spherical dome sitting on top of this thing. And once again, you can actually see when we zoom out the coordinates, the Google Earth coordinates, so you can go and see this image yourself. We will also take the coordinates from this and put it down in the video description. But this object is there. Once again, here it is without the highlighting. And even without being highlighted, you can see the object. It does not blend in with the rest of the terrain. It completely sticks out. This dome on top of the object completely sticks out. These large hangars, these right angles, this entire structure. It could be some sort of launch pad. It could be a storage facility. It could be alien. It could be human. There is no doubt in my mind that we have likely been to Mars and had manned missions to Mars decades ago. As a matter of fact, the evidence corroborates that. The moon as well. And this is not the first time that we've found these structures on Mars. And if you know Secure Team and you know the videos I do, I'm usually not one to do Mars videos because a lot of people out there will post pictures of rocks or normally occurring terrain, and they will try to make something out of it that's not there. So I don't do a whole lot of Mars images, but when I saw this image, it was actually sent to me, and I saw this structure, I had to sit back and go, wow. And when I showed someone else, and they thought that it was a man-made object created on Earth, finding out later that it was actually Mars, that really drove it home that this is something special here, and definitely something to be looked into. Another amazing new image. That's right, we've got more that was sent in to us. This was taken and sent to me via email, and it was actually found using an app on someone's Samsung phone called Mars Images. That is the name of the app, and we will give you the number of the image here on top of the video so you can look it up yourself. And as you're seeing here, we have this object that I've never seen. It's much different from any of the other Mars images where we see these flying objects. You can see this object here in the sky, and it's plain as day. And we will give you a zoomed in look here. This doesn't look like your normal speck of dust, or, you know, just a simple little black dot that could be a dead pixel. I mean, this thing looks like almost like a U, another U-shaped object, this time above Mars. Here's the image inverted, which actually brings out this object even more, and here's a contrast and brightness enhanced version, really bringing out the darkness of this object, but, you know, just proving that it is on the image, it is in the image, and it's in the sky on Mars. And as you all well know, we've done many videos on these objects that have been seen flying over the rovers. Some of them look like discs, some of them look like birds or creatures. Here we have another image of one of these large black objects, these UFOs that were captured above Mars, in this image here in the upper left-hand corner. And if you'll remember, last year we discovered an image that contained one of the most amazing Mars structures I have ever seen, and that is this image here, wherein which down in the crevice of this large crack in the Martian surface, we see this large square structure that is completely alien to its surroundings. It does not belong there. You can see it, this large black square, and then in the middle, on one of the sides, should I say, of this square, we have this what looks like a large circular portal hole or glass dome. Some have said this is something like a possible Stargate. Others have said that this is a building, and what we're seeing on the side of this large square is actually a large glass dome. So, you know, regardless, obviously we don't know what this thing is, but you can see it, it's there, it's in the crack, and it's an amazing image. Now, speaking of discs and flying saucers, we've also had a large number of those images come through on this channel. One of the best images I've ever seen showing one of these flying saucers is this image here that you're seeing. We actually did a video on this, if you remember, and this saucer was located right on the edge of this cliffside. And you can see down in the left corner, the object is enlarged, and you can see that this is a circular saucer metallic object. You can see the sunlight glinting off of the metallic outer shell, and then you can see these two large black windows or portholes that are wrapping around the saucer. And here's another up-close shot of that saucer, standing out from the rocky terrain and cliffside. And here we have another image that we posted a video on showing another one of these saucer objects found in another part of Mars. And as you can see, we have another one of these circular objects with the shadow underneath, maybe a little bit of soil disturbance underneath it. And then lastly, we have what looks like a crash site in this image here, where in which we see this large dug out indentation in the Martian soil, at the end of which there's a circular object dug in underneath the surface, partially sticking out. So this is exactly what you would see if a saucer hit the ground, skidded, and then dug itself into the Martian soil. And I mean, that's what you're seeing here. You can see the object. You can see this is a crash site of some sort, or it's a possible mining vehicle, you know, that is down there creating these trails, mining something underground. And again, we've talked about the underground glass tubing on Mars. You can Google that, where in which you'll find these large glass tubes that have been found coming up out of the Martian surface and going back down again. So there's a lot of interesting, amazing things to be found on Mars. Back to our original image here of this base, this military installation, this object that does not belong here, the dome, the right edges, the large hangars wrapping around the structure, the multiple buildings, and I mean, it's just a pretty amazing find to me. And we definitely want to know what you guys think, so let us know down in the comments below. Be sure to send us in anything you got. We'll be happy to publish it and give you credit for it. All of our contact info is down below. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, where we always post new updates for videos and other things that we haven't featured in videos. And as always, stick around because we have a lot more coming. So thanks for stopping by, and stay safe.